Mbadi walked into the National Assembly County Hall to defend his suitability to head the nation's coffers at the National Treasury. The CS nominee for National Treasury and Economic Planning now says if confirmed, the reforming of the Kenya Revenue Authority will be top of his agenda, saying that the solution to revenue mobilization lies not in introduction of new taxes, but in improving the efficiency of the tax collector.
What measures will you implement to improve tax collection and expand the tax base without overburdening the taxpayers?
One of my first tasks will be to make sure that I have a sitting with KRA to look at how we can reform that institution. Because there was a time in this country, not long ago, when we were collecting 18% of our GDP as taxes. Today it is 14%. If we could just increase from 14% to 18% of GDP, you will be adding about 600 billion to our revenue base. So you will be reducing the fiscal deficit and the fiscal gaps that we have.
On the issue of debt management, the chair of the powerful Public Accounts Committee, which is responsible for holding to account ministries, departments and agencies, stated that accountability will be top of his priority.
One of the things that I think we need to do is to make a debt register a statutory document, which should be published every year, like we publish all the other documents. Kenyans should know it is not the government that owes money to Chinese. It is not the treasury. It is the people of Kenya, the taxpayers, who owe these people money. You cannot owe someone money without knowing how much you owe. So I want to put it that debt accountability is important.
On the Finance Bill 2024, which is now defunct, Mbadi is skeptic about the need for a new bill, suggesting that effective public participation could resolve some of the existing issues.
We don't have to have a finance bill, but I'll seek the guidance and advice from the Attorney General. But I believe the good provisions which have been lost by this bill, which are not contentious, and there are many, which can still help this country grow the economy, we can bring them as specific amendments to those acts with proper public, to the Mother Act, with proper public participation.
On the issue of pending bills, which has been a thorn in the flesh, Treasury Cabinet Secretary nominee John Mbadi is advocating for criminalization of failure to settle these obligations.
But we should criminalize failure to pay pending bills. But above all, I will make sure that we have a system in place which locks anyone who attempts to pay a new bill and ignoring an old one. The system can lock you.
His past remarks on the government and his criticism of the bottom-up economic agenda came back to haunt him, forcing him to draw similarities between the Azimio and the government's agenda.
Me and you never believed in this bottom-up economy. Now we have found ourselves here.
Honorable Junet asked me a question I didn't expect to come from him, but I expected to come. Bottom-up is actually a concept of UDA, read Kenya Kwanza. But I want to tell him that if you look at the philosophy of UDA and ODM, there is no difference.
John Mbadi defended his record, posing himself as the right man for the job. The former ODM chair now says he seeks to destabilize the status quo if confirmed.
You seem to be a person ready to disturb the stubborn status quo at the Treasury.
And very ready to disturb the stubborn status quo at the Treasury. You could not be more right. It is now the mandate of Honorable Naisula and the rest of us to determine whether John Mbadi is a skunk or not.
The Trade Ministry.
Brian Amwai, K24, Nairobi.